Hey everybody, welcome. I'm Joe, and today we are talking to Jill. And oftentimes, like with pork loins, really only one thing happens to them, and that's chops. But there's actually a multitude of different things that you can do to them, ways of preserving them that don't require freezing, and other ways to enjoy cuts of meat outside of like conventional butchery. So we're talking to Jill today. Let's jump right into it. This is the Anyone Can Farm experience. Hey Jill, how's it going?
Hey there. Good.
Let's get right into this.
Good. I don't know about you guys, I'm not a fan of pork chops. So when we do the pigs, we make a variety of different things with them. Pigs are great because there are probably 3 or more different things you can do with every cut off the pig. What I have here is the loin. Traditionally, you get back pork chops, right? Pork chops. What else can you do with that same cut of meat? From the loin, this is going to be Canadian bacon. It's boneless, so we took it off of the vertebrae and the ribs, put it in a wet brine where the salt, sugar, and water are combined together. Let it soak, and I'm going to cook this on the smoker. If you've had Canadian bacon before, that's what this is going to be, and it comes off the loin, same as the pork chop. This one, I've already bagged up, ready to hang. This was salted, just salt with some spices. It's ready to go in the hanging room, where it's going to hang at roughly 60 degrees, 60% humidity for several months until it is air dried and cured all the way through. At that point, it's pretty shelf stable, and it'll stay just fine in the hanging room for at least a year. We can put that on the slicer, shave it, use it for lunch meat, just enjoy it with cheese and crackers this summer. Really nice way to use the loin and to preserve it without having to freeze it. These are, again, boneless loin that we cut into rather thin pork chops of sorts if you just fried them up. These got salted with spices again, and I'm going to be poaching them in fat. This is called confit. It's a very high-end kind of way of making your meat. You can do it with a lot of different meats. You can do it with vegetables. It's also a great way to preserve your meat because after it has poached in fat, which I've got a pan of lard here and I've already got a few pieces in there, I'm going to slow cook it. It's submerged in the fat. Then I can put it in a jar, put the fat in a jar, add the meat, top the jar off with fat, let it all cool, and it's shelf stable because the fat will keep it preserved. So it's a neat way to have super high-end fancy meat and keep your homestead meat without having to freeze it or can it.
All right, so now we got a ham on the table. Walk us through this.
All right, off the back leg. Everybody knows ham. Most people eat ham at Christmas and Easter. So you have options when it's your own homestead pig when you're processing. This is a whole back leg. The whole thing, hoof and all. This has been in salt already for almost a month. It's just about ready to get brushed off, and I'm going to hang it in the hanging room with that other piece that you saw off the loin. It'll hang for a year before this is cured. If you've ever heard of prosciutto, that's what this is. It's going to be prosciutto. Very, very high-end meat, really simple to make. It's salt and then letting it hang for a certain length of time. We also break it down, this whole leg, into smaller pieces. Any of the muscle groups you can do in salt and sugar for ham. That's what this one is. I'm going to smoke it and then we'll shave it and we'll have lunch meat in the freezer. So that's a really handy thing to have. Or you can just cut it into steaks and have ham steaks. Another really nice thing because you just pull out a little bit, throw in your pork and beans or your eggs, and it's good to go. I can also hang that in the hanging room. This is 2 particular muscle groups out of this whole leg. These have been salted with some spices. That's it. They're gonna hang in the hanging room and be sort of mini prosciuttos, so they cure a lot faster. They're also easier to just put on the slicer and go because there's no bone in them. This one's called culatello. This one's fiasco. The fiasco is going to be ready in about a month. We can be having crackers and cheese and prosciutto. The culatello, we'll be enjoying that next spring. When it gets nice and the birds are singing again, it'll be ready. We can sit out on the porch and enjoy a little bit of fine meat. They're also great to hang in the hanging room. Don't have to be frozen. No canning. They're preserved just like that.
Really easy. All right, so hopefully that gave you guys some ideas on different things you can do with like cuts of meat that you are just used to processing in a particular way. You know, a lot of people do things a lot of different ways, and there's different ways to do everything. So hopefully that gave you some ideas. If you're interested in learning more about, you know, cutting, preserving, and, you know, taking care of your pigs on the homestead, we run classes here at Baker's Green Acres all the time on charcuterie and just basic pig processing. So check out our website. We got dates coming up all the time. If you're interested in seeing how that confit thing goes with the preserving pork in the fat, check this video out right here. It's honestly like one of the coolest processes I've ever seen. I really enjoy it, and it's really, really good. So click this one here, and we will see you guys in the next video.